context. Now, when you are in organization, it is not mandatory that you will be just communicating with people regarding your, what job you are doing. At times, there are certain other things as well with which you will have to get involved in. There are certain, unprecedented conditions. कुछ अचानक से ऐसा आ जाएगा जो शायद आपको उस सिचुएशन में डील करना पड़ेगा. There might be some crisis. Let's say if the economy of America falls down, so it will have a repercussion on Indian economy as well somehow. So your organization, if it will be affected, so you will also have to bring some changes. You will also have to interact with some external stakeholders of your company and manage certain things. For that, again, communication is required. So you'll be learning all those things. Next, to develop sensitivity towards cross-cultural communication and familiarity with global business etiquette and protocols. Now, today is the world of globalization. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Wherein we are not just connected, and we don't just communicate with people around us, for that matter within Delhi, for that matter NCR, North Indian region, for that matter India. We are also connected worldwide. That is through internet, and even on internet we use certain different portals and different websites to connect with people all around. Today, sitting over here, you can work for any company of, let's say, America, any company of Nigeria, right? You can also interact with, like, let's say, if somebody in your company is working, like somebody in your company is sitting there in Nigeria and working for your company, and you can interact with that person. So let's just try to understand this. If there is a Nigerian person, and if it is you, both are working for a same organization, and you are sitting in a meeting, then definitely there will be certain gestures, there will be certain words which that person may confuse with. For example, just a minute example. This is a Western side of sort of gesture, and this means all the best, okay, something positive, right? इसीलिए तो use करते हैं, yes or no?
Yes.
Right. But then in India, this is derogatory. As in, this is somebody who is illiterate. अंगूठा छाप बोलते हैं ना? Like, this is derogatory. If you show this to somebody in a village, that person won't understand, because that person does not have the ability to understand the Western context of this gesture. But then, the person who is acquainted with the Western sense of this particular gesture will be able to understand. So this might just confuse people who are from different cultures. There comes learning about cross-cultural communication. How you need to communicate with people who are part of different cultures. How can you, despite not knowing the language of that person, how you can, still be able to maintain a good relationship or build trust in the other person for you. And familiarity with global business etiquette and protocols. See, in India, we take certain things casually, we take certain things very seriously. In some other country, it can be contrary. They may just take those things seriously जो हमारे लिए शायद मायने नहीं रखती, और शायद वो उन चीजों को बहुत lightly ले सकते हैं जो हमारे लिए मायने रख सकती हैं. For example, I'll just give you an example which I would have picked up later on, but course objective समझा रहे हैं तो मैं example लेता हूँ. Let's say we talk about time in relation with communication and relationships, right? When we talk about India, usually when your friend is late for a party, or when your friend is late to play cricket, so you are like, yaar tu bada VIP ho gaya hai. So we relate the uses of time or somebody being late to that person being a very important person, wherein that thing is not taken it's taken very seriously in US. In India we are used to it. कोई इवेंट होना है, उसमें चीफ गेस्ट आ रहे हैं, यार वो तो लेट ही आएंगे, VIP हैं. This idea is very common, though this is not right, but we have accepted it. We are okay with it now. But then it is not at all acceptable in some countries. Similar to that, there are certain other protocols, there are certain other etiquettes that are common at the global level. What are those protocols, and how we can condition ourselves by learning business communication skills so as to be able to be global participators in the global business world. Is that fine? So these are certain course objectives. Here are certain course learning outcomes which I think it's better to discuss when we reach at the end of the course कि हम पहुंचे या नहीं पहुंचे. So you can just have a look at it. I'm not going to discuss this right now. Moving further, I'm going to discuss the syllabus briefly with you, right? And then we are going to start with unit 1. We have almost 15 hours in front of us. right, to finish this particular paper. Definitely, each and everything cannot be taught comprehensively, but I'll try to cater to you as much, in a well manner as I can. But then you'll also have to read and come from the next classes. I understand that this is your first class, and you might not have been, well prepared mentally as well for, a session on this particular paper. But then, now that you will be aware of the whole syllabi, I really want you people to at least shuffle through the pages of the study notes that you've got. It is well written, right? If you read it and then, look into the notes that I might be sharing with you in the remedial classes, so it is really going to help you out. So come prepared in the next class. These are academic counseling sessions. Definitely we are catering to you, we are teaching you everything, but then you are also expected to come prepared with certain topics. Today I'll be telling you what we'll be doing in the next class. So I really expect you people to come prepared with those topics, right? Let's just discuss these topics briefly. So we have 5 units all in all. First unit is communication in organizations. To start with, we'll understand what exactly is business environment. And then we'll just try to understand what is the basic meaning of communication, and then certain basics to communication. For that, for example, functions to communication. For example, we'll also learn some characteristics of communication. We'll also learn about different types of communication on the basis of expectation of feedback. If one-way communication hai ya two-way communication hai, right? We will also learn about communication cycle, communication process, and what are the elements that are there in communication process. कि क्या-क्या elements, क्या-क्या parts हैं communication process के, और कैसे हर एक part significant है, और किसी के साथ भी कोई issue आएगा, then there might be a problem with the whole communication process, and it might lead to an ineffective communication, for that matter, miscommunication. Is that clear? Yes? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, great. Then we'll learn about corporate communication in brief. We'll learn about PR. We'll learn about how we communicate well during crisis. And you have a really great case study in your book. We'll also, go through it, and we will try to understand, how that particular crisis was taken care of just with the help of communication, so that we can inculcate the same values inside us, and we can be better and effective communicators. Next, we'll have listening skills. See, listening is very important in communication. For that matter, I'll just give you a very short example. When we talk about, a kid learning a language, so you tell a kid that, okay, this milk is chiji, this guy is chiji, this papa is chiji. So that kid understands everybody as chiji. This is chiji, that is chiji. Now that is the reason behind it is that the kid listens to it recurrently, right? Imitates it, and then deliberates it and relates it to each and everything around it. The whole and sole idea is the kid listens to it recurrently and in a focused manner. In the similar manner, when we grow up, we learn a lot of things, and when we communicate with people, more important than speaking or writing, it is important to listen to what the other person is speaking. Right? A person is not a good speaker if a person is not a good listener. When we talk about any organization, you should keep your eyes and ears open. It is very important. We'll be understanding about listening skills, right? Verbal and non-verbal skills and presentation skills. When we talk about verbal skills, verbal का मतलब क्या होता है? Uses of words, right? So we communicate in an organization by using words. When do we use words? We use words when we have to communicate orally. We use words when we have to communicate in the written form. Yes or no? Yes. So how to use these oral communication skills and written communication skills to be a good communicator? Next, non-verbal skills. Along with verbal skills, the body language, facial expressions, gestures. Yes, very true. All of these things matter. In fact, your voice modulation matters. The way I am speaking right now, let's say, if I would have just started speaking like this, very lack of energy. So it would sound like that, right? Now when I speak like this, like how I've been speaking since beginning, there is a difference now? Yes. Yeah. So this is the impact of how you can modulate your voice by changing the pitch, by raising your volume, by stressing on a particular word, by changing your intonation. we are going to learn about all of these things. Next, we have presentation skills. If you can look at the last topic of the second last this point, presentation skills. Now, presentation is not just this, that I am using this laptop and presenting it in front of you. And even if I'm presenting it in front of you, क्या मैं छोड़ दूँ तुम्हें पढ़ लो अपने आप? I can't do that, right? That would not justify my work as a good presenter. And I can't even just keep looking at it and वहीं से explain करूँ. That will again be a flaw on my end. Yes or no? तुम्हें भी लगेगा सर शायद confident नहीं है, प्रेजेंटेशन में ही देख रहे हैं ऊपर, उससे रीड आउट कर रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं आ जाता है. It's pretty normal. And you will lose faith in me. The moment you lose faith in me, the very moment your learning capacity, not capacity but your interest will wane out. और वहीं पे लर्निंग भी कहीं ना कहीं हैम्पर होगी. अगर लर्निंग हैम्पर होगी तो ये पूरा का पूरा जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है एमबीए क्लासेस चलाने का, कैंपस ऑफ ओपन लर्निंग का, this will get affected. Hence, even a minutest problem in your communication skill can have ripple effect in the whole of the functioning of the organization, and it can adversely affect the organization's objectives and goals. Clear? Yes. Okay, great. Last, legal issues in communication. If you remember, Fair and Handsome का नाम change कर दिया. किया ना? क्यों किया? Because the word fair was used, and a person claimed that I didn't get fair भैया, मैं गोरा नहीं हुआ. So that person filed a lawsuit. Similarly, many such lawsuits happen, right? So what you are catering in front of public or your potential customers or your potential clients, and how you can avoid such situations where you can fall into the trap and somebody may just file a lawsuit on you. How your communication must be. That is important. आप अपने papers में क्या लिखते हो, अपने proposal को कैसे present करते हो, आप अपने product को कैसे PR करते हो, बहुत important है. So legal issues that may arise in communication, we will just I will even in fact I'll ask you people to come prepared with certain yes ma'am. Seriously, come. Be quick. So, yeah, I just got distracted. Please be quick. So, legal issues in communication will be the last topic in Unit 1. I discussed these topics quite intricately because we'll be starting with Unit 1 from today onwards. But now, like the other 4 units, I'll be just touching upon the topics under it, right? Just so that you are aware what all topics are there. We have second unit, written communication. In the last unit, we focused more on body languages, how we can present ourselves, how we can utilize words, right? Now, the utilization of words in the written form, it is very important. Now, in most of the organizations, like in all the organizations, most of the communication that happens related to big decisions, those don't just happen verbally. Maybe that in a meeting it is decided that this should happen, but everything gets on a paper. Yes or no? Yes. Because written communication, ensures that whatever you write in that, it is authentic. It can be used as a legal evidence later on, right? So hence we'll be studying the first topic, planning and executing different types of messages. In how many different ways can we convey our message to somebody? So you must have heard of notices. You must have heard of inter-office memorandum, right? You must have heard of reports, project reports. Now, all of these ways of communicating something within an organization have a different purpose. जो purpose किसी report का होगा, वो notice का नहीं है. The purpose for which a memorandum is issued, the same purpose, issuing the notice won't do. So each and every way has a purpose. What are those purposes and what are the ways in which we can write as per those purposes, how to go about it? We will learn that. Second, writing reports, proposals and business plans. Reports, I discussed with you earlier how important those reports are. Even when a meeting happens, there is somebody who jots down the minutes of the meeting or writes a report of the whole meeting, Yes or no? If a conclave happens, somebody has to pen down the report of what happened over there. So proposal is very important. You launch a new product or you come up with an idea and you present it in front of the whole, let's say, the whole lot of seniors. right, in a meeting. So you need to draft a proper proposal. What sort of a language should it be? Should you be sounding, in a manner that you are, self-absorbed? As in, if I just write using I'm looking forward to do this. I ensure you that this will happen if this product is brought in the market. If I use a lot of and I don't keep company above me, then it will definitely have a very wrong impression कि मैं अपने ऊपर ज़्यादा अपने आप को बहुत ज़्यादा प्रोजेक्ट कर रहा हूँ. I am not focusing on the development of the company, or I might just start sounding self-centered. So how you need to write a proposal that will not exactly all types of proposals will touch upon, but definitely will look into some examples and some things that we need to take care of while writing some proposals. Next is business plans. Definitely, we have a lot of plans in our minds regarding any business. कोई कुछ start करना चाहता है, कोई कुछ start करना चाहता है. But the whole idea is, if you have to present your business plan, or for your own understanding, if you need to draft a business plan, how should that be? If you want to write, SWOT analysis. What exactly is SWOT analysis? How do you need to, write a good SWOT analysis, and then understand your own business plan and put it forward in front of somebody? We'll learn about that. Next, improving personal writing skills. Then there are other writing skills as well which are required. For example, a normal letter to somebody within an office. For example, if you are seeking some information from the other department, so you have to write a mail. That is also a sort of a personal writing skill which will help you to maintain a relationship or cater something to some other person in some other department, or procure some information from some other department. All right, got it? So these are some topics in unit 2. Unit 3, interpersonal communication. Now when we read this term interpersonal, the very word inter, it tells us that there is something more than one that is present. We say not international. Now what is international? More than one nationality. When we talk about it and some sort of a relationship between those nationalities, then we say international. Yes. So interpersonal communication. When we talk about communication that happens between two persons or among more than two persons, then that is interpersonal communication. We will be studying communicating in teams. Whenever we make our CV or resume, like most of us write one thing common: I'm a team player. Yes or no? Yes. Now you write that I'm a team player, but how to become that team player? और what exactly are the attributes of that team player? लिख तो देते हैं, पर क्या हम हैं और नहीं है तो कैसे बन सकते हैं? That is important. We are going to learn about that. If I am a team player, I need to know how to work in a team. And if I have to work in a team, I should be sure that I communicate in a way that my team's performance is catering to the overall whole and sole objective of the organization. All right. So we are going to learn that. Negotiation skills. It is not that you go to Sarojini Nagar market and bhaiya, this is for 600. Give it to me 300. That guy is giving it to me 250. I'm still giving you 50 rupees extra. And that other salesman is like, no ma'am, I can give it to you for 350. Let's just negotiate. No, I'm not talking about that negotiation. Though even in that, communication skill is very important. You will feel that you will somehow get attracted to that particular stock, and you will go there and buy that product just because the way that person speaks. Or for that matter, you must have found this in you must have experienced it, that you tend to go in a particular shop, even if the quality is just somehow compromised, but just the way the person talks and welcomes you, just calls you ma'am, sir, that very thing has an effect on you. So that feeling, the whole and sole idea is the way you present helps you in negotiating. Now these are some minute examples, microscopic examples that I am taking. Let's talk about macroscopic world. Now when we talk about macrocosmic world, we talk about businesses that happen like at a global level, right? We have to negotiate with big dealers. We have to negotiate with big clients, and the amount is not just 50 rupees, 1000 rupees, for that matter, lakhs of rupees. The amount is millions and millions. The amount is in millions and millions, right? So when we talk about it, how should our negotiation skill be, and how can we sharpen our negotiation skills by using right communication skills, that we are going to study. We have communication skills during a conflict. Now this is something very important. See, when you are part of an organization or when you are working in a team, what happens is that definitely, it's the old saying कि हिंदी में कि जहाँ चार बर्तन रहेंगे वहाँ आवाज आएगी. The whole and sole idea is if you are working in a team, even if it is a group of peers who all are working at the same level, but somebody would have a would say that I work a lot and my colleague does not work that much, or somebody would just be closer to the boss and the other person would have a complaint. Now these are very petty things, and most of you must be working. How many of you are working somewhere? Like most of you are working somewhere. Thank you for telling me. What was that? It's pretty easier to notice everyone when you are here. So please control. Okay. So yeah, I was talking about this conflict. So this happens at times, right? And then it demotivates us, right? We tend to think that why are we working so hard if the other person is just licking the boots of this being a psychopath, licking the boots of the boss, or not working that much, and when the result goes, it goes for the whole department, and even when that person does not work, that person gets the credit. That bothers us. Now how to develop such communication skills that we overcome such conflicts, that we make the other person understand how that person need to work in like despite offending that person, or for that matter despite sounding as a person who is always complaining, because it's bad to whine about everything as well. हर चीज के बारे में complaining sound करना भी शोभा नहीं देता है. It creates a bad impact no matter आपके साथ कितना ही बुरा हो रहा हो. But how should our communication skills be like that we overcome that situation and overcome that conflict? So we are going to learn about that too. Then we have mentoring and appraisals. So there are different levels of people. When we talk about an organization, there are hierarchies, right? Let's say we have an organization XYZ, and we have 5 different levels: A at the topmost, B, C, D, and E, F. We have 6 levels, let's say. Now there is one group which is called the superior, right? The superiors are those who have some other people working under them. Then we have subordinates. The subordinates are those people who have somebody as a boss, जो किसी के under काम करते हैं. Then we have peer groups. The peer groups are those people who work at the same level. All right. So these are the 3 groups. Now, when we have to mentor somebody, how should our communication be like? Should we be sounding too bossy? Let's say if some intern comes and we are that intern is allotted to us and we need to teach that intern. For that matter, I'm the team leader and I have a new team to teach the whole modus operandi of the organization. Right? Should I boss around? No, it's not. It should not be like that. But if I have more knowledge than them, how should I teach them if they are at the same level? For example, some of you are older than me. Definitely, I am 28. Some of you are older than me. Still, if we have to work out, let's say, on a project, or if I have to teach you something, let's say, so how should my communication be like? That just because I know more, I should not be sounding like I know more. It should be a collaborative effort, not a one-sided thing. Are you understanding? Because if it will be a collaborative effort, you will have trust in me, you will have faith in me, you will have an interest to and a zest to learn. But if it will be just one-sided affair and I'll boss around, okay, you don't know this, sit. I'll tell you this. If I start sounding like this, then it is going to somehow affect the learning as well, because you will lose interest with time. Your interest will wane out. So how should a right mentoring be like? तो उस right mentoring के लिए right communication कैसा होना चाहिए? If we have to write a mail for appraisals, why should we get this percent of hike, right? So how should our communication be to the boss so that we don't even sound as if we are just money minded? Or let's say if we were not able to do much work in the last fiscal year and we still want the appraisals. How should I write so as to somehow convince the boss that yes, you should actually give me an appraisal. So how should I sound? So that we are going to learn. Communication in social media and digital communication. Like from the time of pandemics till date, things have changed in a very. There is a complete paradigm shift. Yes or no? बहुत ज़्यादा shift है. Things have moved to, most of the things have moved to online mode. The people who are working in the software field, most of the people are still working from the home. They just go once in a while in a month to their offices and then have a meeting and then they come back and then again they work from home. In fact, if we are in the same organization, if I am sitting in this block and you are in the other block, we need to have a 10 minutes meeting. If you come from there to here, it will take 5 to 7 minutes. Why to waste time? Let's just connect online. So how should our communication be like when we are on a digital platform? In fact, many of you must be on Instagram. Many of you must be on Facebook. You must be using Myntra. You must be using Flipkart, Amazon Prime. Sorry, Amazon, not Amazon Prime, Amazon.in. So you read a lot of reviews, right? क्या वो reviews सही होते हैं? People are actually hired as well just to write good reviews. So good content writers write good reviews and it sells the product. Business end. Now the whole idea is how a company's communication be when it is on social media, or if you are representing a company on social media, how it should be. Twitter people write random stuff at times and they get trolled. At times, if you remember that Zomato guy, when we was asked for his salary, though it was a good gesture that he showed and it actually got a great response, but then it also pointed out on Zomato's loopholes. It also pointed on Zomato's flaws, right? Which were visible to people, which was visible to all the world. So how should you represent, or what should you write, and how should you write on social media? How should you portray yourselves as individuals and representatives of an organization, or as an organization on social media, on digital platforms, that we are going to study in the last topic of this particular unit. Fourth unit, cross-cultural communication. I discussed a brief about it in the very beginning. I'm not going to delve much deeper into it, but yes, definitely we are going to discuss theoretical framework of cross-cultural communication. What exactly is it? We are going to talk about certain examples, certain case studies. In fact, I'll ask you people to come up with certain case studies and we'll all try to understand and learn. Let's say if a conflict happened between two people belonging to different cultures, how did they come out? Or we will try to find solutions, right? So such things will be there. Communication across cultures through different mediums. Now, two people belonging to different cultures may also communicate through different mediums. They may communicate face to face, they may communicate, through texting, or they may also communicate in the online mode through, let's say, Google Meet or something. The way they communicate and the role that cross-cultural communication plays in all these three mediums, in all the mediums, are going to be different, right? So that we are going to study business etiquettes across cultures. Now, the same example I would have given over for here as well about time. Now, when we talk about business etiquettes, like many of us are very ignorant about the importance of time. Like, let's just accept it. I'm not pointing out to some people, but in general, we are sort of very ignorant about the importance of time. But the same is taken strictly is taken strictly in the other countries, in many other countries. So, what are those business etiquettes which are common across cultures? Let's say you need to listen when somebody speaks. So this is common. Be it somebody from Nigeria, Australia, or US, or India, this thing is common. If somebody is speaking in a meeting, I need to be quiet, listen to that person, and then put forward my point. ऐसा तो ये किसी कल्चर में बोलेगा नहीं, उसको चुप करा फिर बोल. It's not like that. ऐसा तो किसी कल्चर में नहीं होगा. So what are those business etiquettes that are common across cultures? Clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
I hope you all had a good lunch. Did you eat something?
Yes.
Great. And I hope this is your last class for the day.
Yes.
All right. Last, career management and communication. See, we've been talking about what should we do if we are a part of an organization, but Devi or Sajno, we need to first enter the organization, right? So to enter the organization, how do we need to prepare ourselves? Now, one thing that is sought from us is our biodata, resume, or CV. Now, many of us don't even have an idea about what is the difference between these three things, or for what purpose do we need to submit a biodata? For what purpose do we need to submit a curriculum vitae? For what purpose do we need to submit a resume? और if a company is asking for resume, आप CV के फॉर्मेट में दे दोगे उसको सिर्फ resume लिख के? कोई resume मांग रहा है, कौन बनाएगा? सब कुछ तो लिखा है इसमें, पढ़ लो जो पढ़ना है, CV लिख दिया. No, this is not the right way, right? Give them what they are asking for. That we need to know whatever they are asking, what is that? We are going to learn about it. Then it is also important to write an appropriate cover letter for whatever, when we are applying for a job. It is not in, the person is not just asking you to send your resume as an attachment. You need to write a proper cover letter. Definitely, I understand that you must have studied this in 11th or 12th, or you must have practiced. If you must be from management background or commerce background, yeah, आपने definitely पढ़ा होगा. Revision कर लेंगे. Or if not, we'll try to take real life examples, real life situations, case studies, and we'll try to prepare a cover letter. Let's say I would give you a job description, and I will ask some of you to apply, write a cover letter applying for a particular job, and then we will try to analyze some sort of that thing. Next is group discussions and interviews. Again, this is pre-organization work. As in, when you enter the organization, it is prior to that. CV भेजा, resume भेजा, then you have a GD maybe, group discussion, or you have to face an interview. How you need to prepare yourself for it. How you need to condition yourself so as to be prepared for an interview or a group discussion. What are those do's and don'ts that you need to take care of when you are sitting in a group discussion? So let's say one point is, we'll be discussing that there, but then let's say one point is that you should not speak in between when somebody is speaking, right? But then there is also this point that if many people are speaking at a time, you should jump in between and somehow mediate and then speak your point and validate it there. पर किस कंडीशन में वो डिफरेंट हो जाता है कि आपको बीच में तो नहीं बोलना है, लेकिन तब जरूर बीच में बोलना है किसी के, जब बहुत सारे लोग एक दूसरे के बीच में बोल रहे हैं, तब आपको सुना जाएगा, because you will mediate. We'll learn those tips and techniques. We'll learn those do's and don'ts, because it is not just that your content matters. Your character and conduct in a group discussion also matters. Yes or no?
Yes.
ठीक है. We'll also be learning about interviews. Now interviews तो चलो ये हो गया, हमने सब कुछ किया, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आ गए, अब ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को अलविदा कहने का वक्त है. Now what? Now this is a fad among youngsters. हम लोगों में बहुत common है, as we've been watching a lot of web series and videos wherein we watch certain characters calling up their bosses and saying, no, I don't need your job, like that. The whole and sole idea is keep it to that only. Wherever you are working, whatever your reason must have been, do not tarnish your rapport at the end when you are leaving that job. अभी तक बुरा हुआ या भला हुआ, लास्ट में तो ऐसे निकलो कि लोग आपकी इज्जत करें. भला हुआ तो और इज्जत करेंगे, बुरा हुआ तो ये सोचेंगे कि कितना भला आदमी था, हमने बुरा किया, भला करके चला. गलत बात है इसमें कोई अगर आप अच्छे बोल सकते हो? नहीं गलत बात है. The whole and sole idea is there are exit interviews as well, wherein you apply for your resignation and your job takes your interview, wherein that person asks you maybe the reason why you are leaving at that particular job, or they might just offer you more salary so as to keep you in the job. Then how to answer back, being humble and polite and still saying no to the job? How to come up with that? We are going to learn that too. Last, ethics and communication. Ethics are the inherent ability of a person to do right or wrong. And हर इंसान के अंदर एक कंसेंस होता है. कंसेंस किसी इंसान के दिमाग का वो बताता है कि क्या सही है क्या गलत है. ठीक है. Now ethics are inherent values, right? You know what is right and you know what is wrong, but then how you inculcate those rights and wrongs in your communication. What are the right ways to communicate and what are the wrong ways to communicate? What you should avoid in communication, right? Ethics say that while communicating, if you know that the other, even if the other person is is your junior, right, and is working with you should still, use the right salutation with that person's name if you are in an organization. बाहर जाके तुम कैसे भी बात करो, but when you are in that organization, no matter what that person's qualifications are, no matter what that person's level is, no matter what that person's role is in the organization, you need to give due respect to that person as well as that person's job. So एक basic एक छोटा सा point था, we'll be learning elaborately about it, and that is where we'll be done with the syllabus. Now, my dear ones, I hope that you have sort of an idea what you are going to study. देखो इसका फायदा क्या है? The benefit of knowing the whole syllabi now is that when you will be studying about 7 C's of communication, or for that matter, how to make your communication effective, आप कहीं ना कहीं ग्रुप डिस्कशन का भी दिमाग में चलेगा कि ये टॉपिक आगे आएगा. सर ने बताया था कि 7 C's ऐसे यूज कर सकते हैं, तो हम ग्रुप डिस्कशन में भी तो यूज कर सकते हैं. This will be the benefit of knowing the whole syllabus. So this is a slight recommendation apart from taking this paper, that do go through the syllabus of all the papers that are there in your syllabus, because everything is like ladder. You don't jump onto the roof just like that. सीढ़ी की तरह चलता है, right? So until आपको ये पता नहीं होगी ये सीढ़ियाँ जाके ऊपर नहीं पहुंचोगे, right? ऊपर का पता है, सीढ़ियों का पता है, तो easily आपको पता होगा. नीचे से ऊपर जा रहे हैं ना, नीचे ऐसा टॉपिक होगा जो आपको नेक्स्ट पे लीड कर रहा है. अगर आपको आगे पता है क्या टॉपिक आने वाला है, तो जब पहले का पढ़ रहे होगे तो कहीं ना कहीं दिमाग में आगे के टॉपिक का भी आएगा. So you will be prepared. You will be preparing yourself for the other topic alongside. So I hope the discussion on the whole syllabi was fruitful. Now these are some suggested readings. You can have a look at it. These are the readings. Any of these you may just get, and that will help you to read further on the whole syllabi. All right. Moving on to the next one. Communication is the key. Now this will be the whole crux of our discussion today. Business environment. Now, when I talk about environment, what is the meaning of environment? Just tell me randomly. And this is a communication class. We will be, actually, it will be completely ironical if we won't communicate. पूरी तौहीन होगी इस क्लास में अगर हम ना communicate नहीं करेंगे. So I will really want you people to speak, and it is not it is not compulsory that you would be knowing it is not mandatory that you will be knowing everything and आपको सही ही आंसर करना है. We are all learning from each other. We have come here to learn. So let's create an environment which I just asked you of learning over here. So what is the basic understanding of environment? Sir, if I may ask you that. Just give me an idea. Environment.
This environment.
This environment.
Environment. Indoor, outdoor unit. Because सब मिलके इकट्ठा है जब बैठ के बात करते हैं environment जैसे ये हो गया.
Okay. So this is also an environment. Okay. All right.
Surroundings
Surrounding is environment. Okay. The crowd, the vibe, the culture. So an environment can be materialistic, cannot also be materialistic. जरूरी नहीं materialistic ही हो. जरूरी है पेड़ पौधा ये क्लासरूम चार दीवारी ये environment है. When you are surrounded with good people, as she said, vibe. If you are surrounded with people like people of your kind, बोलते ना, this is a good vibe. So what is that vibe? Where you just open up and you communicate well. So that is also an environment. So this is an environment of a classroom. Yes or no? Where we have come to study and learn. Hence, what is business environment? All the factors, internal factors or extraneous factors, external factors, which affect the functioning of an organization, everything that happens within and outside the organization, which is related to the organization. मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? तेज बहादुर का काम है, तो हंसराज में कुछ नहीं हो रहा. But anything that is, all these factors must be affecting the organization's objective. इस वाले organization का. हंसराज में कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, इस organization को क्या हो रहा है? But yes, when we talk about university level, then each and every college is connected. वहाँ पे फर्क पड़ जाएगा. So context is context matters. So any internal and external factor plays a crucial role. Let's talk about some of the examples. So the same example which I discussed earlier, when two employees are in some sort of tussle, wherein a person claims that you are not working properly and I have to do all the work. So that is an internal factor. those two persons will fight with each other. They will have tussle, but they will waste time of the organization because they will feel demotivated. They will feel low esteem. They will feel prejudice against each other, and उससे overall objective जो है organization का, that is going to suffer. Yes or no? Yes. So ultimately, it's a loss to the organization. Hence, business environment affects the organization adversely. So external factor refers to economic factors, social factors, technological, global factors. So these are some different factors. Let's talk about technological factors. Again, in the last 2 years, things have changed drastically. Or for that matter, let's talk about the barter system. पहले barter system था, फिर सोने के सिक्के अशर्फियां चली, हर राजा अपने हिसाब से बना रहा है. Then we came up with currencies in the form of notes. Then हमने notes में कभी एक बार शायद 5 शेयर का भी नोट आया था बहुत शॉर्ट पीरियड के लिए. Then हमारे पास आज 2000 के नोट्स हैं जो पहले नहीं थे. The way in which we are dealing with the things around us. Now we are talking about cryptocurrencies. हम bonds में भी बात कर रहे हैं, right? हम shares में बात कर रहे हैं चीजों की. So everything has changed. और जो पहले शेयर मार्केट जो पहले फिजिकली जाके लोग बुकिंग करते थे, now it is happening online in your phone. You don't even need a dealer for that, right? An agent for that. Hence, we transform our business as per technological advancements as well, and our way of communication also gets transformed, right? So, if a company is over here and also situates itself in some other country, now the whole communication will happen between like both the places, right, of this company. The communication will happen over internet. If internet would not have been there, there would have been no connection. Hence, communication also happens as per technological advancement, and it changes when you talk about an organization. Moving further, let's say social factors. Social factor में let's say for example, let's say people over here. Hold on. Let's say there is a sort of civil disobedience among people of several communities in a particular place, right? People are fighting among each other regarding something, or something happens. So any organization that is over there will have to deal with its clients who are situated in some other place where they have to send the products, let's say. So they'll have to communicate with them in a way so that they don't lose those clients. क्योंकि अब वहां पे तो उतने दिन काम नहीं हो पाएगा, तो उनको क्या करना पड़ेगा, अपने क्लाइंट्स को समझाना पड़ेगा, अच्छे तरीके से उनको कम्युनिकेट करना पड़ेगा दैट दे शुड बी पेशेंट एंड वेट बिकॉज दे आर नॉट रिस्पांसिबल फॉर द सोशल फैक्टर्स व्हिच हैव अफेक्टेड द होल बिजनेस एनवायरनमेंट ड्यू टू व्हिच they are not able to cater well to the client. Hence, communication is also affected with that business environment. Moving further, success and failure depend on the effective and seamless communication. In the same example, let's say a company fixes a target that in a month the company will produce 100 products and will be able to sell those 100 products by the month end. Now there is a team of 5 people who are responsible for that. One from marketing, one from sales, one from operations, and there are other 2 members as well. Now, if 2 have a conflict with each other, and we are able to produce, let's say, 100 products, but we are able to sell just 99 products, and the reason was the tussle between the 2 department heads. So when I say that company's success and failure, I don't intend to mean कि कंपनी या तो पूरी ही बर्बाद हो जाएगी या तो पूरी ही आबाद हो जाएगी. When we talk about company's failure or success, for that matter any organization's failure or success, हर कंपनी हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का एक विजन होता है, एक ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है, एक मिशन होता है. हमारे पेपर का एक ऑब्जेक्टिव है, एक आउटकम है. ऑब्जेक्टिव हमने सेट किया, पढ़ाई की, अगर हम उस डिजायर्ड आउटकम को पाते हैं देन वी आर अ सक्सेस, अदरवाइज कहीं ना कहीं कम्युनिकेशन में रहा होगा. Similar to that, when we talk about success and failure of any organization, we talk about its objective, we talk about the fixed goals, we talk about the whole essence with which that organization started. Now उन्होंने decide किया goal कि 100 sell कर देंगे तो 99 कर पाए due to that communication failure. So that was also the failure for that organization. Hence, business environment adversely affect the any organization. Now here are some definitions of business environment. Like whatever we discussed, all these definitions echo the same. You just have a look at it for 2 minutes. In the meantime, you can also have water, relax for 2 minutes, and then we'll continue. Alright, आप इन definitions को देख लीजिए. ये almost वही है जो हमने अभी discuss किया है. Have water, थोड़ा सा relax कर लीजिए, stretch yourself, and then we'll start after 2 minutes. In case there is anything that you haven't understood till now, please feel free to ask. At least ये 15 classes जो इस particular subject की होंगी, please be vocal. जहाँ पे आपको लग रहा है आप कुछ examples cater कर सकते हो, you can share something from your end. You can add on to the whole discussion. Feel free to it. All of us are working. हम उस student mode में नहीं है, graduation mode में, जहाँ पे हमें बोलना पड़े बार-बार कि आपको बोलना है. आप लोग already work कर रहे हैं. This should be very relatable. Right? In fact, each and every paper that you are studying must be very relatable. आप लोगों के पास बहुत ज़्यादा examples होंगे, so you can also furnish your own additions to the whole discussion. Please feel free to do that. Let's just begin. I hope all of you are okay to start with. Yes, can we start?
Yes, yes.
All right, great. Now, a very in general definition of communication. See, in the meantime that you have a look at it, just like human beings, language also evolves. लैंग्वेज का भी इवोल्यूशन होता है जिस तरह इंसानों का इवोल्यूशन होता है या फॉर दैट मैटर किसी भी लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म का इवोल्यूशन होता है. नाउ व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द इवोल्यूशन ऑफ अ लैंग्वेज, ओके, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू नो कि झ जो हिंदी का वर्ड है उसको पहले भ की तरह लिखते थे, उसके बस एडिशन होता था, ऐसे टेल जैसा होता था. व्हाट इज योर नेम? चंदन जी. तो चंदन जी knows about that. Now the झ that we know in Hindi, it's almost like the, and then we add this the tilted T, sort of, right? So it's evolved. Similar to that, there are words like jugaad, which have been now added to Oxford English Dictionary. So similar to that, communication is a word. When we move back to 15th or 16th century, the meaning of that word was just limited to the exchange of tangible objects. Tangible objects money? The things that you can touch. I can touch this pen, I can touch this, or for that matter, this laptop. So if I share this with somebody, if I pass this on to somebody, if I exchange it with somebody, then that is communication. This was the meaning that was there in 15th, 16th century. With the time, the meaning of communication got evolved, and now we say that exchange of any material or immaterial or if anything that is immaterial is communication. Anything concrete or abstract, concrete as this pen, and abstract as the feelings that we convey. Hey, it's paining a lot. Now, your expression, the way you speak, it tells about the intensity of pain as well, right? You say, "Mummy." Now, when you call mummy, and when you are hit with something, when that mummy comes, so that वो दोनों मम्मियाँ अलग हो जाती हैं, because the feelings that are attached. That is it, right? Please pass on this paper. So yeah, so root word of the word communication is communicare. Communicare is a Latin word which means to exchange or to share or to impart. If I have a particular knowledge and I part away with that knowledge with you, मैं अपना knowledge आपसे convey कर देता हूँ. For that matter, let's say if I say your classes will exceed for half an hour in the next weekend. So I have that knowledge. I parted away with that knowledge and gave it to you. This is also communication. If you share your, sadness, that expression is a response. That is also communication. And ये हमारे बीच में जो ये पूरा process हुआ, this is communication process. We'll be learning about communication process after this. Just sharing of thoughts. हमारे माइंड में बहुत सारी बातें होती है, कन्वे करना चाहते हैं. Ideas, emotions, feelings is called communication in general, right? involves unity and exchange of thoughts. You say something to me, I say something to you, or even if I say something, you don't listen and you give me an expression, that is also communication. Right? Now, before I move further, so I just said that even if I say something and you don't respond, this is also communication. You should have come up with a question. Sir, ये communication कैसे हुआ? आपने तो exchange बोल रहे हो तब से. हमने तो नहीं दिया आपको कुछ. आप ही बोल रहे हो. The whole and sole idea is communication can be divided into two parts on the basis of expectation of response. Here, I expect a response from your end. So, तुम बोलो या ना बोलो. It is still going to be a communication, and that will be called as two-way communication. There is something called one-way communication. In general, जो speeches होती है leaders की, in general जो let's say जो RJs होते हैं जो 93.5 FM पे या 95 पे आपको कुछ बोल रहे हैं, convey कर रहे हैं, that is one-way communication. They are not expecting a response. हाँ, कुछ certain cases होते हैं जहाँ पे they need you to call back and tell how was your last Diwali and what do you want to do this Diwali. So that is another thing. Or for that matter, some news anchor asks or comes up with a voting thing. How many Indians want Argentina to win? How many Indians want this or that to win? वो अगर वोटिंग करते हैं तो आप रिस्पॉन्ड करते हो, वहां पे एक्सपेक्टेशन है, एंड दैट इज एन एक्सेप्शनल केस. बट इन जनरल, when we talk about news channels, when we talk about RJs, when we talk about speeches in general, so that is one-way communication. If you say that, sir, somebody gives a speech and the other person throws tomato at him, isn't that a communication? वो respond तो कर रहा है ना? But that was not expected. वो सोच के थोड़ी बैठा था that that other person will be throwing tomato on me. नहीं? So on the basis of expectation of response, one-way communication and two-way communication. But the best communication is the one where there is an exchange, there is an exchange from both the sides, right? These are certain in general definitions. The crux of all these definitions is the same, that is exchange of any thought, idea, feeling. You can have a look at it for half a minute. You can click it or whatsoever you want to do with it, do it. वही same चीज़ है, I'm not going to repeat it. You can have a look at it. In the meantime that you are looking at it, there are certain characteristics of communication, there are certain functions of communication. कुछ functions ऐसे तो बड़ा randomly discuss कर रहा हूँ. Directive function हो सकता है. I direct you to do something. If you are in an organization, right, your boss directs you, वो request नहीं करता, direct करता है. I expect you to do this by EOD, end of the day. करो तुम. Second, informative function. If you need some information about the last month's sales, so as to prepare the marketing strategies for this month in a particular area, or so as to decide what distributors will your product be going and how many units will be going. For that matter, you will have to connect with the sales department of your organization. वहां से information seek करनी पड़ेगी. वहां पर informative function. ये educational function हो रहा है. Suggestive function भी हो सकता है. You suggest somebody something, right? All in all, there are different functions, right? Then there are different characteristics of communication as well. For example, communication is dynamic process. मैं सोच के नहीं आया था कि मेरे पास मैडम जी बैठे होंगे सामने या ये सर बैठे होंगे या चंदन जी वहां पे होंगे जो एक जवाब देंगे कुछ. I did not have you people in mind, right? और मुझे नहीं पता था मैं किससे कुछ एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पूछूंगा या सर कुछ आंसर करेंगे वहां पे. But then communication changes as per different people, different participants and situations, right? So communication is a dynamic process. It keeps on changing and varying with different people. अभी मैंने 11:30 से 1:30 एक क्लास में वहां पे सेम टॉपिक पढ़ाया. There was a different batch. The students were different. There were different examples that I gave to them. There were different students who gave different examples. They answered different questions, which I did not get from you, or you answered some questions which I did not get from them. So it varied, though I am delivering the same content. Yes or no? समझ में आया ना? Same content deliver कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन मेरा तरीका different हो रहा है. Communication is dynamic. It is a continuous process. तुम बोलो मैं चुप रहूंगी सर, अब बताओ continuous कैसे है? बहन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम करेगी तो बोलना पड़ेगा. Yes or no? You will have to speak. You cannot avoid. बोलोगे सर मौन रहता है मेरा. मैं लिखना पड़ेगा. मेल तो करोगे. Or if not, if your boss is there, you will stand and do this This is also communication. थोड़ी बैठ जाओ पे हो गया मेरा आज. You can't do that. Yes or no? So it's a continuous process. Then communication happens all over. That means communication is all pervasive. 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 It's a two, and a good communication is a two-way process. It's not just a one-way process. मैं मैडम से कुछ पूछूं और मैडम रिस्पॉन्ड ही ना करें. कैसा लगता है पापा से बचपन में जब पिकनिक के लिए पूछते थे पापा कुछ बोलते ही नहीं थे. पापा बोलो ना, कुछ तो बोलो, ना ही बोल दो. बुरा लगता है. The thing is, when you don't respond, when you make it sound one-way process, so it becomes ineffective. Then any communication is goal-oriented. बिना goal, बिना context का कोई communication होता ही नहीं है. मैंने शुरू में आपको goal दिया. I told you that yes, we are going to finish this much. We are going to start with unit 1 and finish a particular portion of it. And we decided we are sitting here with a context. We are sitting here with a context because we all want to fulfill the this objectives of this particular organization. आपको एज अ स्टूडेंट फुलफिल करना है अपनी पढ़ाई करते हुए क्योंकि आपने एडमिशन लिया है. मुझे एज अ फैकल्टी करना है, सर को एज अ कोऑर्डिनेटर करना है जो वहां पे वो पूरा वीडियो लाइव कर रहे हैं. एवरीबॉडी इज डूइंग देयर बिट so as to make the whole objective of this organization work out and be successful. Yes or no? है ना? So yeah, moving further, these are all characteristics and functions of communication. ये बड़ा important है. This is communication process, or we say communication cycle. The best thing about cycle is that when you start, you come back. बुरा भी है कि जहाँ से शुरू किया वहीं आ जाता तो बढ़ेगा. But ये communication cycle, if this cycle, it's almost like a circuit. अगर यहाँ से ये ट्यूबलाइट कनेक्टेड कहीं बीच में से कहीं ब्रेक पॉइंट आ जाएगा तो क्या ये जलेगा? नहीं जलेगा. पर्पस सर्व नहीं होगा. So unless and until this whole cycle is complete, the purpose of communication will not be served and it will be ineffective. So what are the elements of this? What are the elements of this particular communication process? So here are certain elements. It has a context, it has a sender, encoding, message, channel, decoding, receiver, noise, and feedback. Now, before we talk about these elements per se, एक एक करके discuss करें. Let's just talk about what exactly is a process. कोई भी process बचपन से पढ़ा है अभी तक. Process क्या होता है कि एक single activity होती है? No. It's a set of activities जो कि connected होती है और उसका एक goal होता है. तब वो कहते हैं वो process है. खाना बनाना एक प्रोसेस है. क्यों है? क्या ऊपर से तेल डाल के छोड़ देते हो? भिंडी अलग रखी हुई है, जैसे दालचीनी अलग रखी हुई है, जीरा अलग रखा हुआ है, बन जाएंगे. नमक अलग रखा हुआ नहीं होते ना. देयर इज अ प्रोसेस और वो भी एक ऑर्डर में होता है. देयर इज अ लॉजिक टू इट. यू हैव अ कोहेरेंस. यू कांट पुट जीरा एट द एंड. कांट डू दैट. वो पूरा टेस्ट खराब हो जाएगा. So there is a logic as well in communication as well, right? So process. So communication is a process because it is a set of activities where different elements play their role, and when all of those elements successfully play their role, then it is a successful and effective communication, right? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Let's talk. So you have certain pointers as well, just in case you want to look at those pointers. Click it whatsoever. Next is sharing. Sharing बड़ा important है. Can there be any communication without sharing? तुम बोलोगे सर मैं बोलूंगी नहीं, मैं लिखूंगी नहीं, मैं कुछ भी नहीं कहूंगी. चुप्पी भी तो एक तरह का कम्युनिकेशन है. Silence is also a communication. That you may not be interested in listening to me, that you may not be interested in talking to me. Silence is also a communication that you might be angry with me. Yes or no? Hence that is also sharing. So communication involves sharing as well. All right. Moving further, understanding. Now तुम सोचोगे सर मैंने तो बोल दिया, receiver has to understand. मैंने अपना काम कर दिया. No. When you talk about a sender, let's say if I am a sender over here, I am talking with you, I am conveying something to you. So I also need to be understanding. I also need to understand. बोलोगे सर आपको क्या समझना है? आपको तो आता है. भाई जो आता है उसमें मुझे क्लैरिटी चाहिए, और जो आता है मुझे क्लैरिटी मिल गई. I need to also have the clarity of expression. कि उसको एक्सप्रेस कैसे करूं? So any sender before starting with any communication must have a clarity of thought and a clarity of expression. दोनों ही चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट हैं. समझ में ना? Yes sir. Now if I don't have a clarity of thought, listen to me. Now if I do this, I was sitting on her desk and I was looking at her. कहीं ना कहीं ऑडियो वीडियो में डिफरेंस आ ऑडियो उधर जा रहा है और वीडियो इधर था यस और नो क्या कह रहे हो सबटाइटल दे दे सर स्टिल उसको बताना पड़ता है ना किससे बोल रहा हूँ द आइडिया इज आई हैड द क्लैरिटी ऑफ थॉट मुझे पता था मुझे किसी का अटेंशन सीक करना है लेट्स से उसका करना है बट मेरे पास क्लैरिटी ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन नहीं था बिकॉज मैं इसके डेस्क पे ठीक है so I as a sender need to have a clarity of thought as well as a clarity of expression then I can say that as a sender I have an understanding with my topic with my goal अच्छा सिर्फ टॉपिक और गोल से अंडरस्टैंडिंग जरूरी नहीं है सेंडर की अंडरस्टैंडिंग रिसीवर से भी होनी चाहिए मुझे लेट्स से अगर लगता है कि आप लोगों को एक पर्टिकुलर जार्गन अच्छा जार्गन क्या होता है किसी भी डोमेन में पर्टिकुलर वर्ड्स यूज करते हैं तो उस डोमेन से रिलेटेड होती है दोस आर कॉल्ड जार्गन लेट्स से आई एम अ डॉक्टर एंड यू पीपल आर लॉयर्स इफ आई एम हियर फॉर अ टॉक एंड लेट्स से इफ आई डिलीवर अ टॉक ऑन फीमेल डिक्रीज इन द फीमेल फीटिसाइड इन द 2 years of pandemic in let's say रायपुर एक ऐसे डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं being a doctor if I have to be a flamboyant person and I have to throw vocabularies on you कि मुझे तो बहुत आता है मैं जार्गन से जाकर सीखी जा रहा हूँ I use a lot of rich vocabulary but if it would have been a medical gathering वो बड़े खुश होते हो अभी ये लोग बोल रहे हैं क्या आदमी है because they are not able to understand no matter what knowledge I carry no matter how much I know everything is futile उन्हें कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा मेरी नॉलेज कितनी भी हो hence you need to know your audience as well knowing your audience is very important आप इंटरव्यू ले रहे हो जिस इंसान का एज एन इंटरव्यूअर आपको उसके बारे में पता होना चाहिए आप अगर उसका रिज्यूम पढ़ रहे हो आप उसके फील्ड से सवाल पूछोगे तो बेटर रहेगा रैंडमली घूम फिर के पूछोगे या डेफिनेटली आप जिस चीज के लिए हायर कर रहे हो वो पूछो बट उस मतलब जो उसका फील्ड है उससे बाहर का बहुत ज्यादा पूछोगे तो उसके लिए प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो जाएगा या आप रैंडमली ऐसे वोकैबुलरी थ्रो करोगे तो उसके लिए प्रॉब्लमेटिक होगा तो वो कम्युनिकेशन इफेक्टिव नहीं हो पाएगा वो इंसान कितना अच्छा कैंडिडेट होगा वो आपको नहीं पता लग पाएगा हेंस देयर शुड बी एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन द माइंड ऑफ सेंडर क्लियर है पक्का कच्चा पक्का या पक्का पक्का all of you is it clear
Yes.
great we have meaning is very important how many of you have watched कोई मिल गया there is a character of जादू now whatever जादू says उसको कुछ समझ नहीं आता he just says धूप इस दुनिया is धूप the problem is that when you do not understand the meaning of something that becomes a problem तो no matter कितना भी अच्छा सेंडर हो कितने भी अच्छे से एक्सप्रेस करके कन्वे किया है मैसेज फ्रेम किया है रिसीवर को माइंड में रखे बट इफ द रिसीवर डज नॉट अंडरस्टैंड what is the purpose of the communication it will be a failure yes or no so hence meaning has to be understood and in fact sender को भी meaningless message communicate नहीं करना sender should also prepare a meaningful message right moving further yes now we'll discuss all of the elements of this communication cycle one by one first one was I'll just switch to this I hope all of you can see this yes ठीक है इसको ध्यान में रखो and we come to this source or sender now I'm speaking over here I'm the sender over here I'm the source मेरा मुंह मेरी आवाज मेरे एक्सप्रेशन कुछ लोग अगर वो देख रहे हैं YouTube पे अभी लेट्स से उनके लिए सोर्स जो है वो YouTube है sender जो मैं yes or no so there is a source there is a sender in a communication sender is any person who sends an information who prepares a message on the basis of thoughts, ideas, feelings in his mind. And as I told you, sender must have a clarity of thought and must have a clarity of expression. Right? जब clarity of thought है, clarity of expression नहीं है, वहाँ भी problem है. Now let's go back to understand how the whole thing happens. Sender has a clarity of thought, clarity of expression, decides on, let's say उसको बुरा लग गया किसी चीज का. Now he wants to express. वो अपना सर दीवार पे मार के एक्सप्रेस कर सकता है वो अपना दर्द कविता से एक्सप्रेस कर सकता है मतलब कविता से ही नहीं मतलब पोएट्री लिख के दैट पर्सन कैन एक्सप्रेस राइटिंग पोएट्री बाय राइटिंग पोएट्री एंड he can also express that by crying अलग अलग मेथोडोलॉजीज हो गए रोने के, दुख जताने के. नाउ वो सोचेगा कि मेरा रिसीवर कैसा है, वो कैसे मानेगा. So encoding will be according to that. Now what is encoding? See, idea concrete तो नहीं है. It's an abstract thing. You can't touch your idea. ये रहा मेरा thought निकाल के बाहर. You can't do that. बोलते ना thought निकाल के बाहर फेंक दे. You can't do that. It's an abstract activity. Definitely it can happen, but it's not a materialistic activity. Concrete activity नहीं है. जब आप एक abstract thought को, idea को, feeling को convert करते हैं concrete form में, as in not you can touch, but then in a form which is understandable to the other person. It may be in a form of language as in Hindi, English, Marathi, Gujarati, French, German, Spanish, whatever. And it may also be in words, as in it may also be in oral form or written form. Language choose कर लिया, oral में बोलूं, written में बोलूं. अब written में तो रो नहीं सकते ना, but हाँ written में दुख जता सकते हैं. So that can happen. चलो वो encode कर लिया. Then what expression should I use if I am conveying in with the help of oral communication? मेरे gestures क्या होने चाहिए? मेरे appropriate facial expressions क्या होने चाहिए? If let's say I have achieved something and I have been promoted, should I share this news with like this? Listen, I have been promoted. This will be so awful. बेकार है ना, inappropriate है. Because ये वाला gesture तो बड़ा ही demotivating है, बड़ा ही low sound करने वाला है. And मैं क्या अच्छी नहीं तरह शेयर कर सकता हूँ? नहीं करना चाहिए. Hey, you know I failed an exam. This is also wrong, right? Because this is a bad news. I can't express it with a smile unless I'm getting rewarded for that. That is another story. So encoding is done, changing the thought or idea into message. Message is the concrete form of any abstract idea in your mind. Encoding happened, message has been prepared. Now channels. Channel ZTV, MTV नहीं. Channel क्या है? Channel is, let's say here it is audio visual channel. You are listening to me, you are looking at my expressions, you are looking at my body language, as well as you are reading what is there on the screen. So this is audio visual channel through which I am communicating my things with you. Right? When you talk with somebody over phone, so medium is this again. So sorry, channel is there will be your mobile phone and audio channel through mobile phone, right? So you need to use a proper channel as well. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a good proposal in mind for the betterment of your company, right? And you want to express that to you want to share that with your boss. Case one, you meet your boss somewhere. Hey, good morning, sir. Sir, I have an idea. Second, you draft a mail, and share that idea. Third, you seek an appointment. Sir, I have an idea in mind regarding, a proposal for the launching of a product. I am sharing a brief about it. Can we also have a meeting regarding, a brief meeting regarding this, just in case you feel that we can go further. Now, how do you prioritize? 1 to 3. सबसे बेकार तरीका कौन सा है? First one. सबसे अच्छा तरीका कौन सा है? Third. You have understood now, right? So using a proper channel is important. आप audio channel use करते थे, problem होगा. Then you decided on sharing it by writing in written. वहाँ पर still थोड़ा सही था. Then आपने decide किया written के बाद मैं already ऑडियो प्लान ऑडियो विजुअल भी एक पर्सनल मीटिंग फेस टू फेस प्लान कर लेता हूं या कर लेते हैं, बिकॉज यू हैव द होल ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इन माइंड एज वेल. आपका अल्टीमेट गोल वो है. बॉस एक सिर्फ इंसान है, बट व्हेन यू आर हायर्ड इन एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन द बेनिफिट ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मस्ट बी योर गोल. बॉस इज secondary. Boss becomes secondary to organization when you are hired in any organization. Remember that. Moving further, so you chose the appropriate channel. Now appropriate channel से वो बात पहुंच गई receiver के पास. अच्छा, when you talk about oral communication, there are two words. जब मैं कुछ बोल रहा हूँ तो आप पढ़ तो नहीं रहे, आप क्या कर रहे हो? सुन रहे हो. So when somebody speaks, you listen. Now there is another word, hearing. We'll talk about these things intricately when we'll talk about listening skills. But then there is a difference between hearing and listening. Yes or no? Yes. Hearing अलग है, listening अलग है. What is hearing and what is listening? कोई बता पाए? Okay. Yes, almost there. Yes, right. What else? Anybody else?
Try to comprehend what the other person is saying.
Okay. All right. Sir, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? हाँ जी sir. Same copy. All right. So yes, you all are right, definitely. So when we talk about hearing, it's just a biological activity wherein when our certain parts of our ears receive some vibration, so we have certain activity in our head. But then when we don't process that activity further, it is hearing. But when we process that vibration that we have received and when we interpret it and try to be meaningful out of it and process it rationally, logically, then that is listening. Yes or no? Hello? So, for example, you're walking in a crowd with a friend of yours. So, you can be hearing Bhindi Lelo, right? You can be hearing random people shouting at each other. You can be hearing the rants of a boy on his father. But then you will be listening to your friend who is walking with you, and you will be hearing that person if that person is not your friend at all in reality. So the idea is what you want to actually understand and logically respond to it, that you listen, and the other things you hear. Now, receiver. So the receiver will decode only if only if it's an oral communication, and only if the receiver wants to listen, then the receiver will be able to decode it. One night will be just a random sound to that person. है कि नहीं? अगर मुझे जैसे कार लोन लेना है, मुझे कार लोन वाले का फोन आया, मैं गायब हूँ, मैम ने उठा लिया, मैम तो ये पूरा irrelevant है, she'll just hear it and then वो उतना ही बोलेंगी that जिसका फोन है वो आके पिक करेगा बाद में, नहीं, that person will talk later. But if it would be me, because it is contextual to me, I'm the receiver and it is contextual to me, I will be listening to it properly and I will be responding accordingly. Yes. So decoding is the processing of the message in a form that is understandable to the receiver if the receiver can understand it. So that is decoding. Receiver is a person who receives the information which is sent by the sender. Now all of this is done. Then comes the most important part, that is feedback. Feedback is the most essential element of any communication. See, feedback is the response that is from the receiver's end to the sender, right? And the basis of that response is most probably, obviously, the message that has been sent from the sender to the receiver. उसी context पे बात करेगा, otherwise वो out of context बात होगी, और वो out of context बात करना भी एक तरह का feedback है, depicting that receiver might not be interested in the topic of discussion. अगर sender ने receiver को कुछ बात बोली, and receiver starts talking, out of context, then talking out of context is also a feedback of one kind. That maybe the receiver is not interested in listening what the sender must have said. And maybe the receiver wants his point to be more prioritized than what sender must have said. Yes or no? Yes. So, feedback is that. Now, importance of feedback is, like, there are many advantages of feedback. Some of it is, for example, like we are in a classroom, we are also communicating. आप बोलोगे सर हम तो कुछ बोल रहे हैं, तो आपको कैसे फीडबैक मिल रहा है? आपके एक्सप्रेशन से मिल रहा है, आपके हेड नॉड से मिल रहा है, हाँ से मिल रहा है, फोन छेड़ने से मिल रहा है. अगर वो भी है, कहीं ना कहीं कोई डिस्ट्रैक्शन है, I would understand that you may not be interested, or you must have got something which is of more priority than this. Then only you might be shuffling into your phone. So the whole idea is feedback ensures the delivery of message. Feedback also helps the sender to understand whether the receiver has understood the desired message in the desired way or not. Yes? That's all. Like these are some advantages of feedback. Now you can also see noise. ये बड़ा important है. मतलब not more important than feedback. You will say that सबको बड़ा important बोल रहे हो. Feedback is the most important, but noise plays a very significant role. What is noise? How many of you have studied science in 11th 12th? तो साइंस के टर्म में सर और मैम, साइंस के टर्म्स में noise is any unpleasant sound is noise. Now here when we talk about noise can be physical, psychological, organizational, mechanical and semantic. बहुत तरह के noise हो सकते हैं. तो ये noise है क्या? Noise is any barrier, is any obstruction that impedes the process of communication, that hampers the communication. Communication जिस स्पीड से हो रहा है उसको कम करता है, that is noise. Yes, sorry. आई विल गिव, मैं दे दूंगा, अभी कर रही हो ठीक है, या आप 10 मिनट बाद आ जाइए, है ना? प्लीज फिनिश दैट, प्लीज राइटिंग योर अटेंडेंस इन दैट शीट, डन, शीट दे दोगे, pass it on. Okay, I'm sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, noise. So it can be all of these, it can be of all of these types. Now when we talk about noise, so let's talk about, yeah, so noise is any hampering in the process of communication, for example which anything that impedes the process of communication, जो जैसे अभी अगर हम ऐसे ऐसे बात कर रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं impede हुआ, that person के noise, बाहर सब आवाज करने लग जाते हैं, वो भी एक तरह का noise है, किसी का यहाँ पे कुछ मैसेज आ जाता है, मूड खराब हो जाता है, that is also a sort of noise for the communication that's happening like between me and that particular person. I am talking to all of you. For a particular person, if a particular person receives some message and gets distracted, so that is also a noise. If somebody gets sad all of a sudden, that is also a noise. If I am told by my senior that I am not teaching properly and you should just go away from here, and that that person will come and teach, that is also a noise organization, because that person has an authority to throw me out of here, but I can't do the same. That is also a noise. If I am utilized, some people are watching me on YouTube, and there is a problem with that camera, that is also a noise. Yes or no? Yes. So there are these different types of barriers which cause miscommunication. Next topic will be miscommunication. What is miscommunication? Miscommunication is when the intention with which sender plans a message and sends it to the receiver, that intention is not fulfilled. When the desired result is not met, then that is miscommunication, right? So what all cause miscommunication? Here are some barriers for you which cause miscommunication. Here are some noises for you which cause miscommunication. I don't have a PPT for that, but I mean that's not when you mentioned in your book. You can write it if you feel like, but I'm just going to discuss it. So first one is this physical barrier, right? Physical noise or physical barrier. The actual noise may just disrupt this communication process. लोग चिल्ला रहे हैं, हुजूम में तुम कॉल किसी का पिक कर रहे हो, आवाज नहीं आ रही मम्मी, आवाज नहीं आ रही मम्मी, तू तो भीड़ से हट बेटी. So that is also somewhere where noise plays a role of a barrier. Second physical barrier में let's say time. If I am given half an hour to finish one unit, I'll be definitely missing out on some important points which will affect this communication process, or I'll speak in such a rapid manner that everything, like most of the things won't be understandable to you. So time also plays a great role, and it becomes a barrier at times. Let's say in fact time, like for example important like which is related to you people. For example, if you have to go for an interview, now if you go there late, even before you step in the room, you have created a bad impact of yourself in front of the people, because you did not care for the time and you were late. Hence, that depicts that you were not serious. It conveyed about your personality, it conveyed about your character and seriousness if you would given a job, or for that matter, anything in your life, right? So this is again related to time. Then we have distance. For example, if you have a friend walking from there and you want to convey something to that friend, बोलोगे सर फोन यूज कर लोगी, फोन बैटरी खत्म होगी, आप क्या करोगे? भाई दूर है, पहले उसका अटेंशन देना पड़ेगा. Yeah, but then you'll have to seek that person's attention, right? If that person is that far, where even if you shout at the top of your voice, that person is not, you're not able to reach out to that person. Barrier कहीं ना कहीं तो distance है ना? Yes or no? Right? If there is a protest going on somewhere and there is a person standing on the platform and there are thousands and thousands of people, and the person speaks at the top of his voice but is not able to reach out to the person in the farthest corner, distance is becoming a barrier, hence physical barrier. Information overload is again a physical barrier. If I keep teaching you for 6 hours at a stretch, not everyone has the same capability to absorb a lot of knowledge in a particular time, hence information overload. We have psychological barrier as well. Psychological barrier क्या है? Let's say if I'm emotionally low someday, so I won't be able to pay much attention to what people around me convey to me or what my boss says to me. If let's say I'm very happy, promotion हो गया, promotion हो गया, promotion हो गया, I'm very happy about it. And in the meantime, if I have to sign something, if I have to submit some, if I have to mail something, and I don't heed to it because I'm in that jubilant mode that I'm not heeding to anything. आज मैं ऊपर आसमान नीचे. So that is going to affect my reputation.
Yes, sir.
Right? Psychological barriers. One of the reasons for psychological barriers is emotion. Next reason for psychological barrier can be distrust. If I don't trust, ma'am, I do trust you, but then let's hypothetically say that I don't trust you. If you are a potential, if I'm your potential client and I have not been getting proper services from your company and I have lost trust in your company, now no matter what what offers or what new proposals you come up with, I will have that that essence of distrust inside me and a sort of filter through which I'll be filtering out all of your things, all of your proposals. जहाँ कहीं ना कहीं it will affect the whole communication process and we will somehow affect your organization as well and my life goals or my organizational goals as well. Just because I distrust, I don't have trust in you. Right. Next is preconceived notions. If I have the tendency of thinking something bad about now, so whatever she conveys or whatever her company conveys, I'll be having that preconceived notion about her product, about her company or herself, and then the whole communication, in fact, the whole organization will be affected because the communication will also suffer due to preconceived notions. So these were some psychological barriers. Now, let's talk about some semantic barriers. Semantic means it is related to the meaning of words, phrases in a sentence. Now, it can be, let's say, it can, let's say, you are working in a company, right, which is a Chinese company, right, and you have to talk to a manager who is sitting in China who does not know English, and he has a translator with him. Now, let's say that translator is a person who is upset with the boss. Imagine, I am dependent on that translator, and that guy is also dependent on that translator. Because whatever that person will convey, this person will translate, and whatever this person will tell me, that person is saying, and I will respond according to that. So the role of that translator is important. If he or she tends to translate things wrongly, intentionally or unintentionally, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? It is going to affect the communication. In fact, the relationship between the two organizations or the two people inside the same organization will be under threat of jeopardy, right? Okay, moving further, use of a lot of vocabulary. Some people are very flamboyant. जानबूझ के बहुत rich vocabulary use करेंगे just to form an impression upon the public. Definitely, there are times when you must do that, but when you unless you are such a so anyway, so he has a good English anyway. Like he has a great command over vocabulary, no doubt. So anyway, moving on. So you need to be rich with vocabulary, but you need to also see as a sender what audience are you dealing with. If you know that the audience does not have the sufficient knowledge or is not there to learn words from you, उसे चीजें समझने उसे शब्द नहीं सीखने आपसे. So speak in a way so that they understand you, or the whole communication will be futile. Semantic barrier if you don't do that. Moving further, organizational barrier. Every company, as I told you earlier, has an hierarchy. A, B, C, D, E, F again. Now, if E has to convey something to B, with protocol, if we go, E will pass on to D, D will pass on to C, C will pass on to B. If a decision has to be taken quickly, and if this is time taken, C, I, and E, so it will be delayed. If it will be delayed, I mean, again, the whole organizational goals might be under threat. क्या पता वो एक deal चली जाए वहाँ से, कुछ भी हो सकता है, we don't know, right? So organizational barrier is also there at times. Next, we have mechanical barriers. I have a lot of 2,000 students in front of me, and I have my small Bose speaker with me. जिससे मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि सबको सुनाई दे. Do you think I'll be able to convey myself to all those 2,000 people with just a small, speaker of JBR board, whatever? I won't be able to, right? Because I need to also look into the fact that my mechanical device through which I want to communicate must be sufficient enough to cater to the audience. Next, Mechanical failure, again a mechanical barrier. Let's say if a problem happens with that device, right? Mechanical failure leading to a problem in communication. Hence, the whole idea of CUL planning to cater to the students online, that will get hampered. Again, it will hamper the objective of CUL. Correct? We'll have a 1 minute break. मेरे भी vocal cord जवाब दे रहे हैं because I could have taught like this as well. Vocal cord मेरा सही सलामत रहते, but then I don't feel like teaching like this. So we'll just wait for like 2 minutes. Let's just relax for a while and then we'll continue for the next 15 minutes, wherein we'll be discussing 7 C's of communication. So I would need your attention in the next 15 minutes. Like till now, everything that I have taught, is it somehow relatable? One, two, understandable. So पहला relatable लग रहा है कहीं कुछ point 100% नहीं 80% लग रहा है ठीक है understandable है I will be taking your feedback maybe after the next class after the next weekend so that I also know how you would like to be catered like if there is any suggestion from your end right I will definitely take it up and keep that in mind right so if there is anything that you would like to convey or ask right now regarding any of the topics or anything in general please feel free to do that किसी को कुछ पूछना है हाँ जी मैम आई एम सॉरी कैन वी अगेन लिसन यस हाँ एक्सपोजर एज इन व्हाट सेंस See, I mean, now that you've taken admission in campus of open learning, so obviously you must be working somewhere. Now, the whole idea of being exposed to learning, the whole mode. भाई क्या हो गया? So the whole idea of learning is going to be different. You will be depending upon these classes. You'll be also depending upon. You'll be also depending upon the remedial classes that you will get on the weekdays. In case you face some doubts, I'll be taking that up in remedial class. In case you would want some notes of the topics that we discuss on a particular weekend. Let's say I've discussed all these topics, and you would need notes of it. I'll be sharing that in the remedial classes. I'll be sharing certain quizzes and questions with you in the remedial classes, which I will ask you to do. Apart from that, I mean, you can take help of teachers, faculty over here at CUL if you want to interact with them. And definitely there are ample number of sources on government websites. For example, you have EPG Pathshala. You can go over there and watch the videos. Like this live class video will be there on YouTube. You can watch that anytime. And any other help that you need regarding that, you can ask your teachers. You have good study notes as well. Anji sir. Can we have can I have your attention and let's listen to his query? If you need the notes, otherwise the study notes that you've been provided by the campus of open learning, that is sufficient. But definitely if you need something extra, I'll share it. I can share certain ebooks with you so that let's say if you want to read a particular topic from a particular ebook, you can just shuffle through it and read it. It's not possible to have the physical copy of each and every book. कोई एक topic किसी book में अच्छा लग रहा है, learn from there. So I can share with you a folder of certain ebooks as well. That is not a problem. I'm sorry. Yes, I'll be taking your quiz in the remedial class. I'll be sharing some questions with you, which will be based on the topics that we have done today. Let's now quickly finish 7 C's in the next 15 minutes. 7 2s are 14. It seems pretty difficult, but then I might just be exceeding the class to 5 minutes. So be patient. Where is that sheet? Okay. Now, how to overcome miscommunication? So, how to make your communication effective? This is the question. Now, if you are sick, if you have fever, you have taken a medicine. Now, if you get all right, then we can say that that medicine was effective. Similar to that, if you convey something, right, and the other person understands in the desired way, then we can say the communication was effective. And there we can say that there was no miscommunication. Then how to ensure that your communication is effective? Here are certain 7 C's which will ensure your communication to be effective. First one is completeness. Now, when do we say that something is complete? Ideally, I would have asked this question to you people, but because we have a paucity of time, let me answer it myself and continue because my target is to just finish this topic. So when we have an idea in mind, when we have a goal in mind, and that gets fulfilled, then we say that something is complete. So we can make our communication effective by having completeness in it, by making our message complete. Now, how to make your message complete? You should utilize 5 W's and 1 H. What are those 5 W's? What, where, who, why, when, and how. Right? Now, I'll just give you an example. Let's say you have to come up with a vacancy. Let's say एक कोर्स कोऑर्डिनेटर की एक वैकेंसी निकालनी है एमबीए के बिजनेस कम्युनिकेशन पेपर पे या फॉर दैट मैटर एमबीए के लिए निकालनी है. Now, for coming up with an advertisement, right, for that vacancy, you can't just I mean, if you don't share what is the post, do you think it will be understandable to the audience? You should tell what is the post, right? Then you should also tell where, for what, for where are you having this post? Campus of Open Learning for MBA students. Let's say when do you have an interview? You'll have to tell that. By when are you accepting the application? You'll have to tell that. When is the deadline? You'll have to tell that too. So the when has to also be answered for a proper delivery of information. Then who? Then for example, who is hiring you, or who is writing that? Sorry, who do you have to connect for any further query? That must also be mentioned. How? What is the process of? What is the process of communicate? What is the process of asking your queries from somebody just in case you face any problem in applying, or for that matter, if you want to ask something? So how should also be mentioned. And if you mention all of these 5 W's and 1 H, remember that there will be no question from the other end. Also, when your message is complete, it helps in decision making. If I have a product to launch, right, and present it in front of my boss, and I have no name for it, my boss will say that haven't you planned well for it? Come up with a name. Or for that matter, if I don't tell him that my potential distributors, let's say future distributors, कुछ तो mind में future distributors potential रखे होंगे ना. If I'm not ready with that, that will again be a problem. So if I furnish complete information, then it will help the people around me to decide well on the basis of that communication. Here's a good example when you have to reserve a hotel, when you have to reserve a hall for party. Let's say तुम्हें book करना है Crown Plaza में. Now there are many Crown Plazas. You need to tell which Crown Plaza are you mentioning. Location बतानी पड़ेगी. What are you organizing? What are you going to organize there? You need to also tell sponsoring organization who is organizing it. Right? You need to tell that too, so that the person who is booking it, at least have faith that okay, we can rely on this particular person, this particular company for payment. Then why is this event happening? Why will they just accept any booking without knowing why is it happening for? So by furnishing all this information, it will be easier for not just you to book the hall, or whatever you want to book. Rather, it will be easier for the receptionist or whosoever you connect to also finish the booking ASAP. So making your communication complete is very important. Message complete is very important. Next is conciseness. अब मैं अपनी बात से पूरा पलटने वाला हूँ. Earlier I told you that furnish all the details you want to make your message complete. You need to furnish all the details, all the information. Now I will say that keep your message short. Now you may question, sir, earlier you said furnish all the details you want to. Now you are saying keep your message short. How can this happen? The clause is that you need to be concise. Your message need to be concise, but not compromising with the relevant and necessary details. Unnecessary details chunk out karo, but keep your message concise without compromising with the important facts, figures, ideas, details. Make your message concise. A concise message is respected and is listened to properly. उस पे ज़्यादा लोग focus करते हैं because time is important. When you are making your message elaborate, you are wasting the other person's time, energy, and you are wasting yours as well. Respect the other person's time. That is very important. How can you do that? You can avoid wordy expressions. Wordy expressions क्या होते हैं? जितने words use करने चाहिए मैं उससे ज़्यादा use कर रहा हूँ. गलत है? मतलब गलत तो कुछ नहीं है. सही है, अच्छे से वर्डिंग अच्छे से लिख रहा हूँ, सब कुछ अच्छा है, बट गलत उस इंसान के साथ है. If you can explain the same thing with a limited number of words, why to waste your energy or the other person's energy? Why to waste your time or the other person's time? We'll see some examples after this slide. Then no repetition of words. Do not repeat words time and again. Yeah, do not repeat phrases or sentences time and again, because that again creates a bad impression of you. The other person thinks that you don't have sufficient knowledge about it. That is why you are repeating things. You might not be confident about something. That is why you are repeating the same points time and again, so that you cannot be caught that you don't have any sufficient knowledge, right? So avoid all of these things. How to avoid wordy expressions? Now here are two examples. Read the first one. We hereby wish to let you know that our company is pleased with the confidence you have reposed in us. Baba. Read the other one. Concise one. We appreciate your confidence. Saral, Bhasha, choti one. Galat hai kuch? It is conveying the same thing. It is not at all different. The second sentence, which is concise, it is conveying the same thing. Isn't it saving time? Isn't it saving energy? And isn't it too direct? Why to confuse the other person? Next one is more confusing. The wordy one. At this time, I am writing to you to enclose an interview card which has been postpaid for the purpose of arranging a convenient time when we might get together for a personal interview. Too many words. You will get confused by the time you will reach the last word. Make it concise. Please return the enclosed interview card to set up a convenient time for an interview. What's the big deal? You can be precise and yet convey the same thing. Respect the other person's time. Make your message concise. It creates a good impact on your clients, on your potential buyers, on your customers, on the other participant of that communication. Next is correctness. I furnish all the details, but all the details are wrong. Is it going to create a good impact? No. So, correct in what sense? क्या सिर्फ information correct होनी चाहिए? No. I'm not saying that it should be just factually correct or it should be figuratively correct. Your grammar should also be correct. वरना क्या होगा? Let's eat grandma. Grandma को खा गए. Or let's eat comma grandma. A punctuation makes difference and saves a life over here. Yes or no? So when you write something, take care that you use the right punctuation and use the right grammar. When you speak something, like focus that you have the right pronunciation of the things. You use the right word stress. You stress on the words rightly. You use the It's fine. It's fine. Is it going to work again? Anand ji है ना? Is it like आप देखेंगे इस? कोई बात नहीं. We'll do it without this. It is okay. I'll share it with you in the next class. Anyway, can I have your attention again, please? Yes. So correctness. When we say correctness, it means correct grammar, correct framing of sentences, so as to avoid semantic barrier. Because वहाँ पे correct translation नहीं था, semantic barrier हो रहा था, right? So we need to use correct facts, correct word, correct grammar. And when we use all of these things, like when we put up all of these correct things, then it creates an impression over the other person. Now let's say if you are a part of a company and you go there, you go to some place and you show your data exaggerated. If we had a 60% growth from this year to this year, we are having an exponential growth, sir. Please give us a chance to cater to your company. वो पहले से homework करके बैठा है. The other guy is shows that this is the current data and you've just done a 15% growth. What are you saying? Now, that creates a very wrong impression. Now you have right facts, right figures, but then you convey things in a very grammatically very fractured grammar. So that is again going to create a very wrong impression on the potential client. Yes or no?
Yes.
I'll just pick up the last C and then we'll continue in the next class. That is, let's say, concreteness. Concreteness क्या है? I'll just give you an example, then we'll jump on to understanding it. Now, I'll give you two cases. Madam, what is your name? Muskan and Bhavna. Now, let's say Muskan and Bhavna are good friends. And Muskan likes shopping and Bhavna does not like shopping, but then she asks Muskan to help her out. Now, Muskan, one of these days goes to Bhavna, and now case one. She says, Bhavna, I went to a nearby mall today and I liked an apparel over there. Let's go there someday and buy it. Clear it? Case one? Yes, everyone? Is it clear? Case two. She says to Bhavna, hey Bhavna, I went to Phoenix Mall at MG Road today. Right? I liked a US Polo collar t-shirt over there. Let's go at 6 p.m. tomorrow and buy it from the lifestyle store over there. Which is a better way to communicate? Case 1 or case 2?
Case one.
How many of you say case 1? देखो नोटा वाले लोग नहीं चाहिए. Either say case 1 or case 2. How many of you say case 1? Please raise your hands. No one? Case 2? No one. Come on, be honest here. Case 1, how many of you say case 1? Ma'am, no one. Case 2. So I assume that the rest of you are there for case 2. Why not case 1? Tell me that. Why not case 1? Sir, you raise your hand to case 2. Why not case 1? You did raise that, that's fine. Yes, why not case 1? Let's listen to him, guys. Yeah? That is not the issue. Shopping person and nahi person, that is a whole different thing. Which case is better of conveying? Why is case 1 not good? Try to understand. When I spoke something in case 1, things were very vague, very general. The other person would have questions in mind. Bhavna ma'am, क्या नाम है मुस्कान? Bhavna and Muskan ma'am से बोलती, where did you go? Which mall? Where? What did you like over there? What apparel? Right? When do you want me to go with you? Okay, tomorrow at what time? These are all the questions that she would have to answer. So it will definitely increase the time of communication. Yes or no? Yes. Right? So to make it sound in a better way, we'll use the second case, wherein whatever is there, we state it rightly there. Does the second case leave any stone unturned for any question to be asked? Will Bhavna have any question in mind? Bhavna? No, sir. All right, with this note we come.